I played on the basketball team, and Marie Wall and I were on the team. And when we went out to play, I'll never forget in McKeesport, they refused to let us play because we were on the, let the team play because we were on that team. But also perhaps the one that made the deepest impression on me was that I had won the Western Pennsylvania State Championship for in high schools for impromptu speech. And my principal and I went from Rankin to the state finals. And when we drove, they drove all the way from Rankin to Harrisburg, which was the state capital. And when we got to Harrisburg, the program was to be in the Carnegie Hall. The principal went in, and then the teacher, Miss Moore, called me, and we started in. And he gave her kind of a signal, and she said to me, wait in the car, so I did. Well, when she came out, I noticed that she was tearing a little bit. And she said, well, they will not let us stay here. And I said, why? And they said, because they didn't know that you were colored. So she was so upset. But one of the things I'll never forget, my mother had had a special dress made for me, and she hung that in the back of the car. And then as she did, she said to me, now, Dorothy, no matter what happens, hold yourself together. And I just looked at her and I said, Miss Moore, can't we go to the auditorium? She said, but you have to have some food. And I said, well, if we go to a delicatessen, and if they have some bologna, I could make a sandwich. And if I had some graham crackers and some milk, I'll be fine. And I could always dress at the hall and just go in there and dress and wait there. Well, she seemed so relieved, and so they came along and we went there. What was interesting to me was that in, an impromptu speech, I was one of 17 from across the state. And in impromptu speech, you draw your subject, but you're not allowed to look at it until 10 minutes before you speak. So that even though I was number 17, I had no advantage over number 1 in that regard. You see, so that it's pretty well regulated. And I drew the Briand Peace Compact. So I sat there, and when my time came and I made my speech, one of the things that I used was that Briand said that we were looking at the United Nations, at the world, not the United Nations, but the world instrument for peace. He said, we're looking at it and thinking of it in terms of an instrument, but peace will not come until it comes through the hearts of men. And if we want to use that instrument, we will have to think more about each other and how we do that. Yes. So in my speech, I used the illustration. I said, I gave the message of what Briand said, but I said it is just like here in my state of Pennsylvania. I said, the message of peace was brought 2,000 years ago, and the messengers' parents were turned away at the inn. And I said, my principal and I were turned away from the inn because of my color. And I said, and we cannot have peace so long as, and I don't remember all of it, but that was the heart of it. The interesting thing, the only person with a black face was the janitor. There were 3,000 in that auditorium, and the judges were there. And I was the first. I won Pennsylvania Choice. And I've often thought about it, because though I had the discrimination, you see, there was still the resilience in the fact that they at least treated me equally.